I picked, I'd like to pick two words for this panel discussion. One is adaptive learning, one part of the high-tech, high-touch. And I'd like to more emphasize the immersive experience in terms of the learning experience. We have to emphasize the learning experience according to your notable speech. You emphasize learners' high expectations caused from the technology's innovation. So, but however, prior to touch the problem, technology, we have to understand the problem, what kind of problem we have to solve using the tools. So I identified the three kind of problems, even though these problems are known very well. First thing is a one-size-fits-all. You mentioned in the classroom the legacy environment for teaching. According to Titan partners, anyone who has ever been in a classroom as a student or instructors know that not all students proceed at the same pace. There you show us using the data, right? And second problem is the ion triangle in physical environment for quality, access, and cost. If you want to improve the quality, it means making the bigger balloon of quality, then the easy to access and improving the access can be possible. However, the more high cost follows up this effort. In other words, if we'd like to restrict the cost, control the cost, it means reduce some cost, then probably quality of the educations and the opportunity of the easy to access to the educational opportunity might be damaged, right? So we have to break this ion triangle in physical environment using some kind of tool. How to do that? Let me introduce in later. The other problem is a balancing issue between hard skill and soft skill. You mentioned the critical thinking, the problem solving, communications. These kind of, I'd like to use a very marketing, I'm not sure that this is a marketing term or not, but I'd like to use a term, the soft skill, as known as interpersonal skills pertaining to communication, capability, the flexibility, leadership, and teamwork, and time management. In case of hard skill, quite frankly, this is very important right now as well. But hard skill can be teachable and measurable and announced as a degree certification and programming skills and proficiency of the languages and operations tool. This is part of the hard skill area. But however, the soft skill cannot be teachable. As you mentioned, the soft skill kind of things have to be cultivating through the practice, coaching, or mentoring. So how do we keep in this balancing in the young learners, those who will be the leader in the coming future? So I'd like to identify three kind of things in terms of the problem, and let's touch finding some solutions using EdTech. Firstly, why we have interest in the adaptive learning, Dale, you touched very wisely why adaptive learning should be focused in the current learning environment. Because adaptive learning enables to diagnose individual learners' weak point, you mentioned before, and provides appropriate intervention and improve the predictive learning outcomes through the effective personalized learning pathway, etc. But I'd like to more add one thing, the fun and interesting resources. So basically, we have to prepare three kind of things to reach to adaptive learning stage. First one is resources. So many quantity, the massive volume of the learning resources pertaining to the fun. And the other thing is a curriculum, very specific granularity level of the curricula, because we have to design the personalized pathway using the curricula. And we have to design the knowledge space area to touch the specific domain knowledge. Also, analytics technology is a mandatory component, improving the efficiency of the learning and appropriate feedback and recommendation to target learners. You mentioned the unique learning needs have to be solved through the analytics. So the common set among resources, curricula, analytics, there is an adaptive learning area, I think. So let me add one thing more to adaptive learning, AI, artificial intelligence. Why I emphasize AI? Because AI can be improved, the repetitive task and conversation among stakeholders, and improving the predictive capabilities rather than statistic data set, and helpful for high touch regarding intelligent decision making, and improve the personalizations in terms of the one-to-one coaching, mentoring through the personalized learning pathway. AI and change the interface, natural user interface and natural user experience. So AI assistants can be a virtual assistant to guide on the personalized learning pathway. So briefly touch, this is a function tree of the AI, and I pointed some features how education domain can use this AI for educational purpose, something like that. The machine learning improve the predictions for learning outcomes and identify the at-risk population, something like that. So through the machine learning, natural language processing for language education, and expert system, the subject consulting, the career and university admission consulting, something like that, and planning and optimization, the improved learning resources and service, something like that. So in case of robotics, can be useful in the education domain as well. Let me briefly introduce a case study. My company is a case study, actually. Let's start the learning activities scheduled individually, assign the resources and assessment to specific learners through massive resources and immersive content, through diverse learning event. Actually, we use the IMS Caliper analytics as same as ASU and LX. So session means when students log in and log out, and how many times spent in the learning pathway, and how long to take the assessment test and assessment item. How long stay in assessment item can give us some insight to decide what's the next resources accordingly. A grading event, assignable event, media consumptions, navigation pathway, order of the view of the resources, what kind of tools used on the pathway, personalized learning environment, and we add something, what kind of keywords they used, and how much compensations they get through the learning effort. This is a motivation to improve the engagement and learning environment. So start from this kind of personalized learning activities, then we touch the analytics from the data capture. So I'd like to say the capture context rather than capture data, because data log, the transaction result in a database, may cause some noise on how to capture appropriate context. So we start from the capture the context. That is a starting point to provide adaptive learning. So we use the IMS Caliber data standard to capture the appropriate context, and storing in data lake and cleaning context, and store in the next stage in terms of data map to making data set. This is a labeled data for AI, actually, so without noise, improving the efficiency. And then toss this data set to the system. This kind of things, one part of the dashboard for tutors, and the data set calculated by AI using the machine learning like Alexa. So we reasoning what is a weak point and what kind of problem for the habit during the learning process. So not only record, but also habit using reasoning on machine learning environment. And then generate the feedback message and recommendations. This is a dashboard for tutors as well. So all kind of messages are generated by the system using the data. So this is not generated by made by human tutors. This is generated by system using the data. I believe this is a high tech. So this high tech result can be tools for the high touch. Let me introduce how use that high touch. Once complete this kind of analyzing and reasoning, then we decide what is the appropriate stage for the next. So actually, we adjust the next stage. For instance, students meet the situation to increase the computational skills. I think this is a different problem. Knowing the calculations and improve the skill, the calculations. I think this is a different problem. Even though students understand how to calculate the problem, but he meets some challenges, poor level of the skill. So he or she have to improve the speed and skills for the computational problem. Then we decide what is appropriate resource type. So we decide to provide some games. As you can see below the game interface, which is some kind of arcade game or card game or challenging time, provide the time limitations, and then we provide the assessment items, and then we provide the leaderboard in terms of the dashboard pertaining to ranking with the peer groups. So this is a very good motivations, and we see very incredible records improving the learning outcome through this kind of gamifications to improving computational skill. So this kind of system is very, very similar with Alexa, because we use the knowledge space, and we use the analytics, and we provide a personalized learning pathway, something like gamifications environment, because we touched a very, very young student. Finally, we share the report with stakeholders, learner, parent, and tutors. We provide a different format and different report type per stakeholders. Learner, more easier. Parent, compact information. For tutor, very, very specific and very, very deep level of the message. So this is one kind of case study. How do we use high tech in terms of the adaptive learning as well as AI, and how do we support high touch led by tutors and supported by parents? So this is my opinion for this today's topic. Thank you.